You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma podcast. Mike Hearn here, your host, back with another episode. Excited to share this episode with you today, but before we do, I've got to thank our sponsors. First of all, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. They've been a huge part of this podcast for the last few years. So the Oklahoma Hall of Fame have been sharing Oklahoma's story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com. And for daily updates, go to OklahomaHOF on Instagram and give them a follow. Our other sponsor today is the Chickasaw Nation. Now, the Chickasaw Nation have sponsored pretty much everything in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and it's an honor to have their name and their brand supporting this podcast. So a huge shout out to Governor Anatobi for supporting this podcast. It really means a lot. Our third sponsor is Diffie Ford Lincoln down in El Reno. Now, this one makes me so happy because these guys are great friends of mine, play a lot of golf together. I've bought my cars from them. Do most of my oil changes down there, have a cup of coffee, hang out down in El Reno. It's a good spot to go. And not only are they great friends, but they provide a great service. So for over 60 years, third generation family owned Oklahoma business down in El Reno. They're also in Bethany as well. So people in the Bethany area know the Diffies really well. But if you're looking for anything new, used, Ford, Lincoln, or whatever, I'm sure they could find anything you want. Check them out, diffieford.net, and then on Instagram at diffiefordlincoln. This episode is brought to you by the Doghouse OKC. Recently, I have been in need of some doggy daycare for my two pups, and the Doghouse have come in clutch. The team over there are incredible. They've taken care of my two golden doodles, and so it's been an honor to partner with them on the podcast and share the love. And the one thing that I do with the sponsors that I have is stuff that I use and recommend, like the Diffies with my car, Hall of Fame. They're awesome. Citizens Banks, where I bank. Chickasaw Nation, huge supporter of Oklahoma. And adding to that is the Doghouse. And so if you're in need of doggy daycare in the day or boarding overnight, they do grooming and other cool things too. But I've had a fantastic experience, and it's an honor and a privilege to share this with you too. So go to thedogHouseOKC.com and follow them on Instagram at thedogHouseOKC. And hopefully our pups will run into each other. This episode is brought to you by the Oklahoma State Treasurer Unclaimed Property Division. Oklahoma has more than $1 billion of unclaimed property. Reclaim what's rightfully yours. Visit YourMoney.ok.gov and enter your name to find out if you have lost money from utility deposits, uncashed checks, life insurance policies, or more. If you've got a minute, search for free and visit YourMoney.ok.gov.
Dust the red dirt off your boots and get all your rowdy friends together. Born and Raised Music Festival is back for one hell of a weekend. September 13th through 15th, 2024 in Pryor, Oklahoma. Featuring Cody Johnson,
You got a chance, take
Hank Williams Jr.,
all my rowdy friends are coming over tonight.
Cole Wetzel, plus Midland, Dwight Yoakam, the Red Clay Strays, and many more. Weekend, single day, and camping passes on sale now at bornandraisedfestival.com.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike Hearn here, host, back with another episode. We are back at the agency office. It's been nice to come up here on a Sunday afternoon when no one's here. It's great. But yeah, we are at our agency office in downtown Edmond. Downtown Edmond on a Sunday is a very sleepy place too, which is nice because a lot of people drive through here and hate the traffic. There is no traffic on Sunday, I can tell you that much. But my guest today is return guest. He is the OSU hype man. He is working for Urban Bridge and a bunch of other cool stuff. The first episode we did together was back on February the 12th of 2020.
Wow.
Before things went crazy, right?
Right before.
Literally before things went crazy.
Wow.
Episode 126. I will link that in the description so you can go listen to that to hear my guest's backstory. One of the best things I think that came from that episode that I remember is that you sang and danced while on deployment for the U.S. military.
I did.
Which is great. But,
wow, you have a good memory, man.
Yeah, so the voice you're hearing is my guest, Mr. Les Thomas Sr. Les, welcome back to the podcast.
Man, thank you so much for having me, man. It's a great privilege and honor to be on here. And I'm excited on how you've built this thing. Like, we talked off camera, and I was episode 126, and you're on what, 650
now, yeah. 650,
Come on, man. You've been working. appreciate and love what you do for Oklahoma, man, and just sharing the amazing stories and amazing, beautiful pictures. I've learned a lot just looking at your pictures you post, man. So, thanks for having me.
Thank you, man. Yeah, there's some great photographers out there, and I'm blessed to have them let me share their content. It's been great. And also, it's nice to hear that I get a message sometimes from someone who's like, oh, who took this photo? I want to buy this print. And then I get to refer it to the photographer, and they make some money from it.
Wow.
So that's really nice, because sometimes I feel like I'm just like borrowing people's content to repost for my own good. But when they make money from it, it makes it all worth it. But yesterday, obviously, we're recording on a Sunday right now. Yesterday, Sunday, that's September the 1st. It is my birthday month, so today's a good day.
Come on now.
Game day was yesterday. First game back.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Man, the game yesterday was everything I thought it would be and even more. Right now, the fans and everyone it's just so electrifying. Everyone has an expectation of having a great year. So, sometimes, there's some uncertainty. But with this year, it's like everyone is certain that we're going to be at the top. It's the expectation. We have the number one running back in the country. We have a returning quarterback. We have 20 returning starters. And you can tell in the fans, you could tell in the energy, you could tell in the posture that people are expecting greatness. And yesterday against South Dakota, even though they're great, we're talking about a South Dakota that's been the FCS champion the last 2 years, but it was still South Dakota. But here's the thing: the energy felt like it was Texas, or I felt like it was, I wouldn't say Bedlam, but it felt like it was Texas or a Big 12 matchup or something like that. That's how much energy was in the air yesterday, and our team showed up, man. They did so. Our defense, outside of 2 plays, our defense really smothered them, and that's what I think we're excited about too. With our defense, man, we got a year up. You can tell I'm getting excited right now. You can tell another year up under our defensive coordinator, and I'm excited about it. And yesterday was just a good day. It was a great opener, good energy, and everyone stayed pretty much till the end too. So.
There's nothing like that first game energy, right?
Yeah.
And especially the position that you're in, you draw from that crowd, right?
Absolutely.
And that raises you up. But what I don't know if we did this the last time, but I want to do it again anyway to refresh people's minds. So basically, you're the OSU hype man. You're on the microphone for games, driving the gator around. Take me through a game day from start to finish for you.
So game day, man, first things first, I got to make sure I set out my outfit. I got to make sure the outfit is right. If people don't understand, you look at me right now, OSU on the hat, OSU on the shirt. I just do it on purpose because I want to make sure I look good and while I'm trying to sound good. So I put out the outfit, jump in my car. I have an old school car. I have a game day car. Now I have a Mustang, a 71 Mustang. I put that on, man, and I put some music on. If someone was able to be a fly in the car or just watch me, they would probably think I'm a crazy man. I get so crazy driving to the game. So crazy. Long as I keep both hands on the steering wheel, or at least one, I'm safe. But if someone was to see me driving down the street, they would say this man is on speed. He is on he's had a Monster, a Red Bull, and some type of B12 shots or something. But anyway, so I get to the game. I have to be there 4 hours before the game starts. I go into our office, and we have about 25 interns that we have a full meeting with. One of the things that's really cool about the game is it's down to the second. If people only knew the work that goes in to make sure that the fans are having a really good time. So we meet for about 45 minutes just going over play-by-play, no different than the team. We go over play-by-play. Once we get done, I'm going to talk about the addition that we added to.
Yeah.
So now we have the Loud and True crew. That is a hype group that walks around with me. So, yesterday we just went over their responsibility, which is basically making sure that the fans are having a great time and bringing the energy. Then after that, man, I drive around on the Gator for about an hour and a half, going around to different tailgates, getting to give out free things, give out shirts, give out gift cards, trying different foods, all these different things, man. Just have an amazing time. Just get to really soak up the atmosphere. It's really cool. Some people would think that it may be draining, but for me, I absorb all that energy going around to the people when we pull up, they yell, they're dancing because the Gator has a kicker system on it, so the music is loud. We're driving by, people dancing, we're dancing in there. So, and then 2 hours before the game, I get to lead the walk for the football team to Boone Pickens Stadium, which is really cool. The fans are lined up down the street, and you could just feel the energy. Pete is out there, the band is out there. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I go inside, go in the stadium, park the Gator, and then I just kind of go over my lines and make sure I'm ready. And talking to myself and listening to music again, man. I mean, I can't do a backflip anymore, but I try to moonwalk like Michael Jackson or something like that, So, yeah, man, that's pretty much what a game looks like prior to a game. Yeah.
And then during the game, then you're in every quarter you do something, right?
Yeah, so every game, I keep the party going during the breaks and halftime, So it's all about what I do is fan engagement. And so if the team is up by 20 or down by 20, we have to bring the energy. We got to keep it going. Because here's the thing. It really plays a vital part. It's a reason why they call it home court advantage or home field advantage, right? You play a part in keeping the momentum going when you're winning. And then you also, you also want to, if we're losing, you want to try to bring the energy level up. All of that helped the players, right? Again, that's why it's home field advantage. And so, man, I do all the fun stuff, all the fan interaction, making sure the fans are having a good time, great time. And here's the thing is I'm a fan first. And that's what people may not know. Someone yesterday even said that, man, you really embraced this OSU culture when you got the job. And I said, nah, you didn't know me before this. My truck was black and orange. I had an OSU tattoo. I mean, I've been going to games. I was working with the team for 3 years before I even started being the hype man. And so, yeah, man, just being in that atmosphere, and I'm a fan. So I really live in the moment. And sometimes I deserve an Oscar. Because I'm like, if we're losing and it's the third, fourth quarter, that's what people don't really think about. I still got to bring the hype.
Yeah.
I have to act like we are up by 50. You know what I mean? So, and with me being a fan, I'm emotional just like other people. It took me a year or two to realize not to talk to the referees. I had a person assigned with me the first year just to make sure I don't yell at the referees. Y'all need to hear this. Your boy Les, I'm not just hype and just rowdy. I am extreme sometimes, and I'm not supposed to talk to the referees. And I had someone assigned to me to help me not say anything to the referees and to help me fix my posture because less people can see you. And so I can't throw a fit or show it on my face or in my body language whenever we make a bad play or we're losing. I have to stay up. And so, I've learned a little more self-control being in this position. If people only knew, man. I mean, like, the same energy you see having fun is the same energy I can have if I'm bothered to. And I have to make sure not to show that part.
So when that happens, that first year, and you're lighting up the refs, who notices and who says something first?
So Detrick, and actually Detrick was an intern at that time.
Okay.
And Detrick actually works there now as an employee. So he went from being an intern because he's an OSU fanatic. He went from being an intern to now working in the office, and Detrick would be with me, and he was my dance partner. Detrick is my guy, one of my favorite interns, so fun. But he would tell me, and when he would tell me, he wouldn't yell it to me. He would bump me, or he would whisper "Hey, Les, fix your face," or "Hey, Les, you can't say anything to the referees." He wouldn't show me up. He would just say it real low, "Hey, Les, people can see you, man." Because I've been going to the games for 20 years as a fan. To go from being a fan to now you're on the field in front of people, I'm conditioned to respond how a fan, it's a fanatic. I am a fanatic fan, right? So, yeah, Detrick, man, shout out to Detrick, man. He's a great guy. I love him, man, and I love working with him now. I went from, him being an intern to now, at games. I'm taking orders from him on what to do, and so great guy, yeah.
You mentioned he was an intern. How old is Detrick?
Detrick he's probably around 29. I would say he graduated 4 years ago, so he's probably around 28,
so he's
29.
He's got an old soul then to be telling you, hey man, he's got awareness. It takes a lot.
Yeah. And think about this, at that time as an intern, he's a student. So he's probably 21, 22, something like that. And, you know, my first year was just really important because, one, I wanted to stay true to who I am. Yeah. You know, we had a phenomenal hype man before me, game day host and Matt. And so when I came in, you know, it was important for me to be myself, and Detrick helped me be myself. You know, Keith is another guy that was an intern at that time that he actually runs the office now. Yeah. So that's the Cowboy way, man. I mean, you know, a lot of people that work at OSU went to OSU. Yeah. And so now they're in these leadership positions and they're running it and things like that, man. But yeah, man, so as a college student to tell, and, you know, I mean, I'm almost old enough to, truth be told, a lot of people don't know this, you know, but I'm almost old enough to be their dad, if not their dad, you know. So it's so funny. But yeah, he had enough in him to say, hey, Les, you know, relax a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're right. Like, sometimes it's needed, and sometimes it's like, no, turn it up, like, bring it on, bring the heat, and get after it. But yeah, that, you know, it's and a lot of people, you know, you do basketball too, right?
Yeah, I do.
Those are the main two, basketball and football.
Yeah, I do men's and women's basketball as well.
Which is, I mean, that's tough. You got to, I mean, yeah.
And see, basketball is even, I mean, honestly, basketball is a little more challenging because the score can change within 5 minutes. Football is usually momentum, you know, it's not a lot of ups and downs outside of plays, but in basketball, you can be up by 20 and down by 20 in the next 10 minutes, right? Or you could be up by 5 1 minute, down by 8 the next minute. And so, you know, it's a game of runs. So basketball can be challenging too. Sometimes I just have to go behind the stands, smack my face, kick a wall or something like that, come back out with a smile, you know? So
Yeah. And didn't you do stuff with orientation this year as well? Did you do that every year just to kind of get the freshmen involved and get the kids into it?
Yeah, so the Cowboy kickoff, our amazing president, Dr. Strum, you know, she wanted to turn it up a little bit. I've always helped with it some, but when she got there, she was like, I want it to be a party, you know, so we got to bring in a party man less. And so I MC that, bring all the energy. And this year, man, let me tell you, number one, it was a record, and freshmen attending OSU, but the energy was amazing in there. I mean, a freshman was ready, man. I had this thing where I would say 25, 26, 27, and I told them all to say 28 with me because that's the year they're going to graduate. And man, it was thunder in there. But yeah, I help out with that. I help out with, you know, going to speak to the team if they need me to, or if they need me to MC various events, or, you know, because, you know, many of them are starting to find out that it's more to me than a hype man, so they'll have me come in and speak to various organizations. So, yeah, whatever they need, man, I just shoot down there and make it happen.
Yeah, that's good though, right? Because that kind of, like I said, leads into what you do outside of it and everything that you've done in the leadership side too. I mean, most people know you for that leadership role, right?
Yes,
outside of being, you know, the OSU man.
Yeah.
Especially people, you know, within the kind of church community around Oklahoma City and kind of all that, you know, schools. And that's nice to be able to do both and really have that in your back pocket as an asset for OSU. And like, hey, we know this guy is yelling on the field all the time, but let's go have a proper chat with, you know, with each other and be like, you know, have an adult conversation, talk about life.
Absolutely. Right? It's almost a cheat code for them. Like, I just met, you know, Coach Lutz, our new basketball coach, and, you know, it made me feel pretty good that when I met him, someone walked up and said, have y'all met before? You know, this is a hype man. And he was like, yeah, a hype man is what he do, but that's not who he is. And he was like, it's more to less than that. And that made me feel good, you know, because a lot of times I think people get caught up in the hype, which I am a hype man. But those that know me, especially here in Oklahoma City, I'm more of a hope man, right? So, you know, they got a cheat code where they can say, you know, can you come in and talk to us or whatever, and I can make it happen.
Yeah. Which, I mean, this kind of leads perfectly into, we both did TEDx a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
And, you know, like that, your first line of your TED talk was that.
Yeah.
You come out, you're screaming, you're like, I'm a hype man. And then you got super quiet.
Yeah.
I got chills thinking about it.
Wow.
Because it was so good, right? And it was the person that no one, you are, but no one, you know, no one knew the hype man. So I would love to hear you talk about that kind of TED Talk experience, because you were late that day. Like, you went like later on in the day.
I was next to the last.
Yeah.
That experience, man, you know, I'll put it out here and be honest. It was challenging for me because normally whenever I speak, I'm very creative in the moment. And I usually prepare 30 to 50% of what I'm going to say. And then in a moment, I'm just very creative. It's one of the gifts that I have. But with the TED Talk, you got to prepare 99.9% of it before. So it was really hard for me to sit down at a computer with a book and pencil and pen and try to create my message, and the first thing was narrowing down my message, and David helped me with that, but because there's so many things I could have talked about, Mike. I could have talked about, racial reconciliation. I could have talked about, the work that I do on the northeast side of Oklahoma City. There's a lot of things. I could have talked about the military. But for me, I felt like it was really important to talk about the foundation of who I am. And that is that foundation had cracks in it, right? I thought it was really important for people to know that the way you start doesn't have to be the way that you end. And so, that TED Talk was a challenge for me. I'm very thankful for the opportunity. Going through that day, it was kind of hard for me to enjoy every person that was up there because I had to keep my words in my mind. And for most people listening, most people haven't done a TED Talk, but you and I know you have to really prepare and pretty much be a robot up there and do the thing that you've been saying over and over and over again, which is hard for me.
It's hard for me too.
It was hard for you too.
Yeah, I changed mine halfway through my prep. I was like, I felt like a robot. Like, this isn't me.
Yeah.
And then I changed it, but I had to learn that, right? And I'm up there, I'm like, because I think we're both, especially with the podcast, I'm used to just getting up and talking. I have an idea of what I want to get across, but I don't know exactly the roadmap. And TEDx, it's like, this is exactly what I'm going to say. These are the pauses. This is the volume. This is the pitch. Like, it is robotic, isn't it?
Yeah.
And some of the greatest speakers, that's what they do.
Oh, yeah. That's what they do. The same thing over and over.
But some of them, they need to do that. Whereas, we're more comfortable floating and on the fly and just being like, let's feel it, let's do it.
Man, I'm glad to hear you say that because I thought I was the only one that felt like I had speaking handcuffs on. And then it was an amazing day, beautiful day, a lot of support. It was really cool to have Oklahomans come out and support all of us. And for me, I felt really vulnerable. Yeah. My background is in the Christian faith. And so when you would share your testimony or what you went through in the church, for the most part, you didn't really have people judging you, or you had people that was proud of you, cheering you on. But that was my first time sharing my story. And here's the thing, in the last 10 years, my audience and my friends and supporters has grown drastically. So a lot of people didn't know that part about me. And so to be vulnerable in front of the world and share that I really was failing as a husband and a father with the world, Mike, man, when I tell you that my anxiety was so high, I was so nervous because I started thinking about something I never think about. And that is, will people judge me?
Yeah.
Will people say, man, you're not the less who I thought you were? But what helped me overcome that is I realized we all have a background. We all have had challenges. We all have made mistakes. And I reminded myself that you're not here to impress people. You are here to impact people. You are here to share that the people that love you now is Les Thomas. They need to know where Les Thomas came from because many of them have or will go through things where the identity will try to set in concrete in that challenge. But the thing is, through your life, Les, remember that it's showing people that concrete doesn't have to be laid in that issue and that problem, that you can overcome it and you can become a productive citizen type thing. And so for me, Mike, it was a challenge, going at the end. I'm like, man, I'm trying to support everybody, but I'm also trying to keep my mind. Yeah. And we went to lunch. Lunch was when we went to lunch, man, that was like torture for me, man. I was envious because you went up,
I think I went second.
Yeah.
And I caught myself because I was that morning, people they're going to be there and you're talking. And once I got done, I was just at this huge sense of relief. And I popped back up to the green room to grab some snacks. And I think Jenny was in there.
Yeah.
And someone else was in there kind of preparing. And I was just like bouncing around, like, I was super happy, like I'd done it. And I just caught myself. It was like, oh, these guys haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
They're in that, like, they got that gut feeling. They're like trying to throw over their lines. I'm like, I need to leave now because it's disrespectful to everyone in here. I'm glad I caught myself because otherwise they could have thought that I was just being a complete pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But going like second to last, I can't imagine. I probably just wouldn't have shown up until going on.
Like waited until after lunch
to be in front of everybody. I would have just, because I think Jenny did that. Jenny didn't show up until after lunch.
I mean, that's probably what I mean, because I was mentally tired by the time I went up.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a really good friend of mine, and I called her another friend's name. That's how much my mind was messed up. It was a really good friend of mine. I called her the wrong name. Yeah. And it was just because my mind, and I said, man, charge it to my mind and not my heart. And again, just being able to convey and to be able to me, that was kind of like my last, put it all out on the table, because I have to make sure that my identity is not in my failures as well, right? So that was kind of my last hoopla on like talking all about my past, and now I'm just focused on the future and having my family there to support me. My son, daughter, and wife was so amazing and beautiful. But yeah, man, it was a challenge though. It was a challenge for me, man. It was a challenge. Yeah. I'm glad that I did it because, having a TED Talk next to your name, which is almost like having a PhD or something like that, So, and I released a book that day too. So, I released a book. That was like pre-sale, early sale. The book was releasing on the 20th, but because we had the TED Talk like 10 days before or something, I did like an early release. Yeah.
Yeah. And have you written one since then, or that's the?
No, that's it, man. That was tough for me too, man. 3 levels of influence, man. I always knew I wanted that to be my first book because I feel like having mentors in my life, I'm a big product of mentors. I think it's really hard to maximize your life without mentors. And I think a lot of times, especially for men, we think about mentors when it comes to our profession, but we don't think about mentors when it comes to life. And having a life mentor, in my opinion, is more important than a profession. Having a mentor that helps you in your profession. But that was my first book. I do plan on releasing 2 more books for sure. One, whatever my last year at Oklahoma State, one about my time at Oklahoma State, and then like an autobiography type thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you doing any music? Because that was obviously a huge influence in your life too.
Yeah, no, I don't do music as much anymore. Since 2020, I have released 2 more songs that did really well. One was called Team America, and that was all about unity. I brought people from different backgrounds, nationality, races, and all that type of stuff, and brought them together to show that we need to unify in the midst of all this chaos and division going on. And then I did release another song called Not Stopping, basically saying I've come too far to turn around. I'm not stopping. Just a very motivational type song. So yeah, I don't do music as much as I used to. I do have the plan to release my last album this fall. I'm saying it on here to help me get it out. This album has been done for a while, and it needs to be like a closed curtain type thing. Not saying that I won't ever do music again, but I'm sitting on a full album right now that needs to get out, man.
Get it out. Come on.
I need to get it out.
So all of this, like, and the first time we did the podcast was at SALT, and you're in the leadership stuff, and you're speaking, you're used to the hype man stuff now as well. Been doing that quite a while, and your story leading into this, all of that leads into what you do now, right? And you're at Urban Bridge, and so I'd love to hear you talk about the impact that you're having at Urban Bridge, and also by using all the experiences that you've had to help others as well.
Yeah, man. I believe, purpose brings fulfillment, and my purpose on this earth is to impact the next generation. And I believe when we go through things, it's not necessarily just for us, it's for other people. And, my good friend, Marcus Jackson, we've known each other. We met each other through music. He's a producer, and he's an artist himself. So we met over 20 years ago, and we've been friends. And then also when I was in the military, I would serve and help with Youth for Christ. So, we would go in schools and do mentorship. And I remember when Urban Bridge was just a dream. I remember him talking about it. It was something he wanted to build, because one of the things about being in the demographics that we grew up in, it's all about making it out. Make it out and don't turn back. You know, and he had the same mindset of myself. I found someone I could connect with, why don't we stay here and build? Instead of making it out, why don't we build here and give young people an opportunity and be a bridge for them to be able to go to the next level in life and to do something outside of the norm of what they see every day and every night. So Urban Bridge, Marcus started Urban Bridge, founded it in 2015. And all this time I was still in the military, but, you know, he was sharing a dream with me. Then he got a building on 19th and Martin Luther King that was so bad. Excuse me, Hype Man just was hype yesterday at the game. So my voice may, be a little raspy right now. But, so got a building on 19th and Martin Luther King. The building was so bad. A church was in there prior to us. And the building was so bad, they moved out. It was literally a hole in the wall, man. I mean, like an 8-foot hole in the wall with squirrels and birds, and everything was inside of it. And I remember him saying this was the dream, this is it. And so during that time, I would volunteer and help him. I mean, there's videos and pictures of me helping him build this thing that I never saw myself being a part of. Like, I'm just helping a friend. And man, boom, November of 2020, he opened up. The upstairs was still terrible, but downstairs was good enough to open up. And, I retired from the military in 2018. So I knew, being a hype man at O State was a fun job, dream job, but also it's important for me to stay in the vein of what I'm called to do. And man, 2 years ago, we just started dreaming together. And I started thinking about, what I could do to help the northeast side of Oklahoma City. And, my background is accounting, which doesn't match my personality. Shout out to all the accountants out there, but most accountants are usually introvert, you know what I'm saying? When I would walk in the office, when I was in the military, I'm sure that some people was like, man, I love this guy. And then some people was like, man, it's 6:30 in the morning, shut up. You're coming in with all the energy. But yeah, so, I had a lot of different opportunities, and I said, where can I make the most impact? Where can I help provoke change? And that is working in the northeast side of Oklahoma City, where I was born, where I graduated. So Urban Bridge is a organization that serves middle school and high school, right? 5th grade through 12th grade, creating pathways of hope, bringing hope. For us, hope is healing, opportunity, potential, and empowerment, giving the young people hope. You know what I'm saying? Without hope can cause us to do a lot of things, from inflicting, pain on ourselves, to giving up in life, various things like that, drugs, alcohol abuse, different things like that. And so giving them hope, saying like, hey, man, there's hope. There's something outside of this, an opportunity. Let them know that there's opportunities and that they belong in this world just like you and I, Mike. The same way we have an opportunity, they have one. But unless you tell them and show them, they don't know that, right? And the potential, hey, man, you have a gift and a talent. You have potential outside of this thing that you see every day, because the area that we serve is an underserved area. It is the lowest income zip code in Oklahoma City. So there's a lot of poverty. There's drugs. There's gangs. There's violence. All the opportunities that the young people have in that area isn't necessarily an opportunity that that they would like to be or dreamed about as a kid. Life suffocates that dream out of them, where it's like, man, I dreamed of being a police officer, a fireman, a lawyer, a doctor, a teacher. But what I see in my life, I can only reciprocate what I know. So we shake up their mind and say, no, you have potential. And then we empower them to do it. And so, at the Bridge Impact Center on 19th and Martin Luther King, we have a room dedicated to STEM. We have a licensed therapist. So therapy is free to the kid and their family. Like, everything is free that I'm talking about right now. So a room dedicated to STEM. We have a STEM coordinator. We have a licensed therapist. We do martial arts. We had a room for martial arts. We do boxing. We have programs every day in and day out, that the young people can participate in, and it's incentivized. Like, you and I get paid to work, right? So we don't make the kids participate in any programs. We incentivize it. So if they're doing homework, if they're participating, and we have a kitchen for culinary arts, so we have chefs that come in and teach them how to cook. We have a full studio where they can write, produce, and engineer music. If they participate in that, then we do art, like art where artists comes in and teach them how to draw, how to paint. We do dance, man. I mean, we do dance. We do yoga. We do so many things, and just giving them an opportunity to dream, that we incentivize it. And when we give them these bridge bucks, we then have a case that they can go to, no different than Main Event or anything like that, where, they can spend what they made that day, or they can save it, right? And so it's all about teaching financial literacy. Like, you and I have currency to spend every day. You'd be surprised how many of these young people don't have the money to learn how to spend money or how to save money, right? And so we teach them, okay, you made $15 today, you can get blow pops, you can get chips or whatever, or you can save your money for these Jordans, for these headphones, for these $50 gift cards and all that. So it's all about incentivizing them to explore various things and just being a bridge, because, we don't believe that their demographics should determine their destiny. I'm going to say that again. We don't believe that their demographics should determine their destiny. And so, again, it's just creating pathways of hope, being a bridge, and helping them discover them becoming the best version of themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. And, this is a reality, right? Mm-hmm. And you and Marcus and everyone involved, it is, back to what you said, the goal is not to leave the community anymore. The goal is to rebuild and help out and make sure that these kids, because it ain't their fault. Yeah. They're born into that situation. Yeah. And it's great that you guys and obviously Marcus had this vision, and clearly it's a passion of yours. Otherwise, you wouldn't be putting the time and the effort in to do it. Yep. And that's when you have your accounting background. Yeah. Financial literacy is. You need to know that stuff.
You need to know it.
Right? And we were fortunate to know that stuff from family, parents, friends, school, whatever it is, it's back to what you said, knowing that there's hope goes a very long way.
Yeah. Well, when a young person walks in, I see myself. I am them. I grew up in, poverty, single parent home. My mom and I, flipping a sofa just to get change to put 80 cents into the gas tank. I know what it's like to be around gangs, around drugs and all that. So these young people, what they're exposed to at a young age is really sad. But I, too, was exposed to those things. Even though I had an amazing mother, that I tell people I was a drug baby, my mom would drag me to church 8 days a week, even though I know it's only 7. Even though I had that, I still was exposed to a lot as a child. And many of these young people walking in, I can identify with their pain. I can identify with their struggles. And what better thing that I could do than to say, hey, man, I've walked your walk, I've talked your talk, and look at the things that I'm doing in life now. You know what I'm saying? I consider I am a thankful person. I tell people this, and I don't say it with any pride or any arrogance, but I understand that I'm a success story. Mm-hmm. Growing up in the area that I grew up in, we didn't think we would live until 25. I'm 46 now, in a position as an executive director of community engagement, working with young people, working at Urban Bridge, being the hype man at OSU, author, artist, now serving on a few boards, to make decisions to help people. Leadership Oklahoma, man. I mean, I never thought in my wildest dream I would be part of, I'm currently in the Leadership Oklahoma class, but all of that, I say that to say that young man and young woman, I know it may not look like it. Yeah. I know maybe you haven't experienced something that looks great or positive, but I am a living example, and I'm not ashamed to say that I too had those struggles. I too made mistakes. I too know what it's like to be around these negative things, but look at the things that I'm doing in my life now. Yeah. So life is all about choices, and that's what my mother taught me. Life is all about choices, and you're gonna eat the fruit of your choices, good and bad.
Yeah. Well, and it came full circle for you too, right? Because you're the position that one of the positions that you have was appointed by the governor.
Yes, sir.
Right. Tell me about that.
So man. You know, if people go back and listen to the first one, I know you said you're going to put the link there. You know, I had to, for some choices that I made, and I talk about it in the TED Talk, ended where I ended up in front of a judge, you know, and I had to go to Kojak on a scared straight type thing as a young person. And now, you know, I've been blessed to have an opportunity to now serve on the Board of Juvenile Affairs. It's a governing board for, you know, Oklahoma Juvenile Affairs, and it's governor appointed. You know, it's really surreal to think about. As a young person, I had to go to Kojak to scare me, to say, hey, this is where you're going to end up if you don't change. Now I'm in a position to put them in a position to succeed in life. What? I went from going in on a piece of paper to now my name is on a board, you know. You know, I see you smiling because that's kind of crazy, right? It's full circle to say I was a young person that was wreaking havoc. I was getting in trouble. I was a product of my environment. And now I'm in a position where it's all about restorative justice. It's all about putting these young people in a position to succeed because their mistake does not define them. And so being on this board, you know, governor appointed, is something that I know if my mother was here, man, in her tender age in her late 70s, she would have tried to do a backflip, man. You know, she would have, she would have patted me on the back and would have hugged me and loved me. But yeah, that's what it's all about. Again, you know, I love being a hype man, but I try to tell people that, you know, hype man is what I do, but a hope man is who I am. And so, yeah, being on this board, man, I get to make sure that they're put in a position to succeed. And I've been mentoring there for a long time, doing Man Up, you know, with Waylon Cubitt for over 10 years. And I started doing gang prevention with him, and now we do Man Up. So I've been serving those young people and being a mentor there for a really long time. And just I love that this board is not a board of how do we drop the hammer. This board is how can we serve these young people? You know, can they leave with their GED? Can they get their high school diploma? Can they get their driver's license? They need a state ID. Just things like you can't do anything without an ID. So we tell them, hey, go get a job. Hey, go, you know, you can't do anything without state ID. And so we try to make sure that they're put in a position to do better and to be in a better position to succeed once they get out. And again, it's all about restorative justice, man. And it's an amazing board, and it's an honor to be on that board. Yeah.
Well, finishing up, let's talk about something, a passion of yours. You kind of referenced it a little earlier. You're a Mustang. You're a car guy. You love cars.
Love cars, man.
So I'd love to hear, because I know you had something different. I think you had a Camaro maybe the last time we did this, and you were restoring that one. It was
I had just bought that car.
Yeah.
So we were in February 2020. Yeah. In January of 2020, it was a 76 Firebird.
That's right.
Yeah, it was a Firebird. Yeah. And at that time, it was orange. It was Bedlam. The outside was orange and the inside was crimson.
Yeah.
I don't know if the person was colorblind and had it or what, but it's no way I was about to sit in anything crimson. I mean, the crimson can't even touch my body. What? No disrespect to OU fans out there, but I don't wear crimson. Yeah. But anyway, I love old cars, and I restored that one, and it had Pistol Pete on the seats. Man, it was all about OSU, and Mike, I love that car, and people love that car. Well, no, let me take that back. I like that car. But people loved it. I mean, that thing was probably 98% restored. The engine, even the engine was clean. You can eat breakfast off the engine. But I'm a Ford guy, man.
Yeah.
I am that's one thing about, I am loyal, man. I mean, what I like is what I like. And I got that car because my wife, it had a 400 big block in it. My wife, my little brother has a 73, and my wife really liked his. And she said, man, you should try a Firebird. I've had 2 or 3 other Mustangs, the 73 and the 71. But it just didn't scratch the itch for me, Mike. It did not. So I ended up selling it. I sold it to an OSU fan. I sold it in less than 12 hours. I put it on Instagram, and that thing was gone. I'm like, man, maybe I should have asked for more money. But anyway, less than 12 hours, gone. And I bought a 71 Mustang now that I have. And when I got it, it was green, really bad shape. I bought it in June of last year, Mike, and let me tell you this. Bad shape, but that thing run, man. It got that 351 Cleveland in it. Because the previous owner wasn't the one who did the engine, I'm not sure what all was done to it, but let me tell you something. Whoever built the engine knew exactly what they was doing, Mike. I mean, when I tell you that thing make your head fly back, only thing I had to do was the cosmetic. And so, I sent it to the shop, and when he got into it, it had a lot of rust. Oh, man, when he took the doors off and everything off, we really had to revive that thing. It went from being a maybe 2 or 3 week project to about 3 months. But I want it done right. And so now it's beautiful. It's black and orange, but it's pearl all over it. The engine bay is orange. I was trying to decide, man, I got to do something different. So I almost went with a blue engine bay. So when somebody opened the hood, it'd be something totally different. But I decided to go with orange. So the walls is orange. The outside is black and pearl. The inside, I completely tore it down. So I did this myself. I tore it down to the metal. I mean, like, rust holes I was so disappointed when I pulled up the old carpet. Rust holes I had to replace the floor pans, and I had to, make sure I sealed it and put some stuff on it to prevent it from, because I'm like, if I'm gonna tear it down to the middle, I might as well do it right. So I had to make sure I did all. But anyway, I did all that myself. The seats. The only thing I didn't do was the embroidery. My friend Scott did the embroidery, but he got running ponies on the seat. So the seats are black and orange with orange stitching. And so it's got ponies on the front seat. On the back, it got Mustang 1971 Grande. And then that thing bad to the bone, man. That thing bad to the bone. Only thing I need to do now is, kind of beautify the engine. But outside of that, that thing is nice.
Yeah. Do you love this one or do you like it?
I love this one.
Okay.
When I say I love, so this is my second 71.
Okay.
The first one was a fastback, but this is a 1971 Grande, and this one I will pass to my kids unless somebody come to me with some crazy money. I like to restore and build cars, right? Yeah. So, if someone came to me and offered me something big, all I would do is buy another one. But right now with this one, I love this one. I'm a Ford guy through and through. I have a 5.0, a 2011 5.0 6-speed Mustang. I drive a Ford F-150, and now I got my Ford 1971. So I'm a Ford guy, man, all the way, yeah.
Love it. Well, let's finish with that, man. Really appreciate you coming in. So pumped that the college football is back. I know you are, and I'm gonna have to come up to a game. I need to come in.
You have to come to a game, man.
If OSU will let me have a media pass and ride with you on game day, I would love to just shadow you the whole day. Let's figure that out.
I think we can probably. I'm almost sure we can make that happen, Mike. That would be great to do. I know who to talk to.
Document like a day with you.
Yeah, I won't say their name because I don't want to put them on blast, but I know who to talk to.
Let's start that process.
And we need to make sure that happen. Hey, I wanted to just say real quick, if anyone is interested in Urban Bridge, you can go to urbanbridge.org, or you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Urban Bridge Now if you would like to learn more about it. You can follow me as well. Shameless plug, LesThomas.Senior. OSU, if you say, hey, Les, I'm not really into everything you do outside of OSU. I only like you as the hype man. Then you can go to Let's Go Pokes without the T, LESGOPOKES. And Mike, man, thank you so much for having me on here, brother. Man, thanks, for real.
It's been too long.
Yeah, well, I just want to say again, I know I said it in the beginning, but I'm just, even after hearing your TED Talk, I'm just proud of what you've done for Oklahoma. I am an Oklahoman. I've had opportunities to work in other states and other parts of the world, and it's no other place I would rather be. I tell people to think about Oklahoma, and I'm just saying, I'm sorry, I just got to get this off my chest. The thing about Oklahoma is, we are building something special and something great. And Mike, you are able to say that you remember when. Like if we go to another city, nothing against other cities, but we just another number. Here, you're able to be part of the legacy. And Mike, you are a person that you weren't born and raised in Oklahoma, but you are part of the legacy of Oklahoma now. And so I just want to applaud you for putting in the work that it takes to spread the good news of Oklahoma, man. I love Oklahoma.
Thanks, man.
So thank you, man. I applaud you. I know you didn't bring me on to pump you up, but I'm just giving you truth, man. Yeah. I love what you're doing. I love the opportunities you're giving people, and keep doing it, man.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate you. For people listening, all the links that Les mentioned, I'll put in the description down below. If you want to go follow him or get involved with Urban Bridge, go click the link in the description. And yeah, we'll catch you next episode. Go Pokes.
Go Pokes all day. Hope
you guys enjoyed that great episode. Thank you so much for listening. As always, huge shout out to our sponsors, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, sharing Oklahoma story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com and follow them on Instagram for daily updates at OklahomaHOF. Our other sponsor, the Chickasaw Nation, amazing sponsor. They do amazing things for the state, and they're always sponsoring something in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and without their support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And our third sponsor is Diffie Ford Lincoln down in El Reno. Now, this one makes me so happy because these guys are great friends of mine, play a lot of golf together. I've bought my cars from them, do most of my oil changes down there, have a cup of coffee, hang out down in El Reno. It's a good spot to go. And not only are they great friends, but they provide a great service. So for over 60 years, third generation family owned Oklahoma business down in El Reno. They're also in Bethany as well. So people in the Bethany area know the Diffies really well. But if you're looking for anything new, used, Ford, Lincoln, or whatever, I'm sure they could find anything you want. Check them out, diffieford.net, and then on Instagram at diffiefordlincoln. This episode is brought to you by the Doghouse OKC. Recently, I have been in need of some doggy daycare for my 2 pups, and the Doghouse have come in clutch. The team over there are incredible. They've taken care of my 2 golden doodles, and so it's been an honor to partner with them on the podcast and share the love. And the one thing that I do with the sponsors that I have is stuff that I use and recommend, like the Diffies with my car, Hall of Fame. They're awesome. Citizens Banks, where I bank. Chickasaw Nation, huge supporter of Oklahoma. And adding to that is the Doghouse. And so if you're in need of doggy daycare in the day or boarding overnight, they do grooming and other cool things too. But I've had a fantastic experience, and it's an honor and a privilege to share this with you too. So go to thedogHouseOKC.com and follow them on Instagram at thedogHouseOKC. And hopefully our pups will run into each other. This episode is brought to you by the Oklahoma State Treasurer Unclaimed Property Division. Oklahoma has more than $1 billion of unclaimed property. Reclaim what's rightfully yours. Visit YourMoney.ok.gov and enter your name to find out if you have lost money from utility deposits, uncashed checks, life insurance policies, or more. If you've got a minute, search for free and visit YourMoney.ok.gov.
Dust the red dirt off your boots and get all your rowdy friends together. Born and Raised Music Festival is back for one hell of a weekend. September 13th through 15th, 2024 in Pryor, Oklahoma. Featuring Cody Johnson,
You got a chance, take
Hank Williams Jr.,
all my rowdy friends are coming over tonight.
Cole Wetzel, plus Midland, Dwight Yoakam, the Red Clay Strays, and many more. Weekend, single day, and camping passes on sale now at bornandraisedfestival.com.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This Is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.